good evening. This is me, your host Mahnur Gohar, and you're watching Pak News English. Once again, I'm back with the trending, conspicuous, and bold topic in the world. Today, we are going to talk about Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, an increasingly unequal relationship between them. But before this, let's understand Russia. On one hand, Russia looks west towards Europe, and the country sees itself as an undeniable part of European civilization. On the other hand, Russia looks east. Its rulers slam Western civilization, Western values, and declare that Russia's future lies with Asia. With Vladimir Putin, the Russia has firmly swung to the east. That's hardly surprising. His decision to invade Ukraine has left Russia a pariah in the West and his country battered by Western sanctions. US President Joe Biden has called Putin a murderous dictator. UK Prime Minister Liz Truss previously dubbed him a desperate rogue operator. China's president, however, uses quite different language. "My old friend," exclaimed Xi Jinping. The two leaders met on the sidelines of a regional summit in Samarkand, Uzbekistan. For his part, President Putin lauded the friendship between China and Russia and their strategic, comprehensive partnership. The two leaders also share a similar world view. Both promote the idea of an alternative world order, a multipolar world in which their countries act as a counterweight to the West, in particular to the US. So, is it the case of the best friends forever? Not quite. First, BFF really exists in the global politics, and second, this is an increasingly unequal relationship. Mr. Putin's invasion of Ukraine, which has not gone according to plan, has weakened Russia. The Kremlin admits that the Russian army has suffered significant losses, while Western sanctions are putting the country economy under intense pressure. In the Russia-China relationship, it feels more and more that Russia is the junior partner. In their meeting, Mr. Putin conceded that China has questions and concerns about the situation in Ukraine. It was an unexpected admission by the Kremlin that Russia's so-called special military operation is causing some anxiety in Beijing. Having burned bridges with the West and sparked an energy war with Europe, Mr. Putin is attempting a pivot east. He is hoping to reorient the Russian economy and find new markets for Russian oil and gas. It's quite a challenge. Sergei Radchenko, a professor at the Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies, said, "What Russia needs is ultimately in the West, its technology, its markets. Russia requires Western technologies to develop oil and gas fields offshore, and there's a big question mark about whether Russia will be able to do that without Western support." It's very difficult to change the direction of gas flows. The Soviet Union and Russia spent decades building networks of pipelines to Europe, and that's where the physical infrastructure is. It's very difficult to reorient Russian energy markets toward Asia. The summit Mr. Putin and Mr. Xi are attending is a meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or you can call SCO. Along with Russia and China, members include 4 Central Asian states: Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan, as well as India and Pakistan as well. For President Putin, the event is an opportunity to demonstrate that despite international sanctions and attempts by the West to isolate Russia for the invasion of Ukraine, Moscow still has powerful friends. Further, Professor Radchenko said Russia likes to point out that this isolation by the West is only in the West and that the world is very multipolar. According to him, what's interesting is that the whole balance of power in the SCO and in Central Asia is changing and moving away from Russia. Putin is in Samarkand at a time when the Russia leader is in the middle of the war. He is losing. Meanwhile, for the first time, countries in the Central Asia are pursuing their own policy. This is most noticeable with Kazakhstan, which has been very assertive in its relation with Russia. Kazakhstan hasn't been nearly as supportive as Putin had hoped for since Russia invaded Ukraine. There are interesting shifts in the balance of power. As the Kremlin promotes its pivot east, it's worth remembering the key point about Russia. This country, the biggest in the world, spans two continents, Europe and Asia. Instead of focusing on both hands, it makes more sense for the Russia to look both ways. That's for today. For more news, updates, information, keep watching Park News English. I'll be back tomorrow with another topic, another story, with another perspective. Until then, stay tuned.